The following segments are unrehearsed, real-time sequences filmed mostly with tiny cycle-mounted cameras that were not noticed by the motoring public. The cyclists are drivers of vehicles using the best practical methods to show and visually explain the Florida laws related to bicycle usage on the roadways. It is the law that cyclists may and can choose to be safe. These are the ways to cycle, be safe, and obey the law. This is the first of multiple sections that discuss cyclists legally leaving the right side of the roadway. This section discusses the reasons that are clearly defined in the statutes. First, understand the wording in the statutes that allows cyclists to leave the right side of the roadway. Second, review definitions that apply. Third, understand the reasons that are clearly stated in the statutes, including passing, left turns, traffic speed, and avoiding hazards. The statute that discusses a cyclist at the right side of the roadway refers to the cyclist's right to use the roadway. The roadway is the paved portion of the highway to the left of the curb or lateral edge line. The statutory definition of roadway is the portion of the highway ordinarily used for vehicular travel. The statute continues and specifically excludes the paved shoulder. The paved shoulder is not part of the roadway. Cyclists may use a paved shoulder, but are not required to do so. We will discuss that in the section on bicycle lanes. When required, the cyclist's obligation to keep right is predicated on faster traffic being present. The purpose of the keep right provision of the law is to maintain efficient traffic flow when safe. If there is no other traffic and no potential to impede other traffic unjustly, there is no requirement to keep right. When the roadway is wide enough to safely share the lane, or when there are adjacent lanes, slower traffic should, if safe and practicable, keep to the right to facilitate efficient traffic flow. Practicable means feasible or suitable, or, as the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says, safe and reasonable. Who is best able to recognize the conditions that may endanger them? The individual riding in that space. If the cyclist is traveling at the same speed as other traffic or faster and is not impeding the progress of other traffic, there is no requirement to keep right. When otherwise riding legally, cyclists will sometimes temporarily delay other drivers. This is not unlawful. Many cyclists are capable of maintaining the same speed as other traffic. These cyclists are not restricting traffic flow and are safely passing the other vehicles. The cyclists are not required to keep right. It may be unsafe for a cyclist traveling at higher speeds to stay at the rightmost edge of the roadway. In this case, the cyclist is maintaining the same speed as other traffic and is not required to keep right. There are exceptions to the keep right rules that apply only when traveling slower than other traffic. Some are very specific in the statutes. Others require understanding cyclists' practices to ensure safe operation. The laws and the cyclists' rights and duties are all based in a common sense understanding of safely sharing the roads with larger and faster vehicles. Too often, cyclists, motorists, and officers tend to stop reading at "keep right" and believe that is always the requirement. They may not consider the many circumstances when the cyclist must change lane position. The Bicycle Regulations Statute describes situations when a cyclist is not required to keep right when traveling slower than the normal speed of traffic. When the cyclist is not required to keep right, the statutes do not define the portion of the roadway that can be used. The statutes recognize that the cyclist must have the discretion to use the part of the roadway needed to remain safe. In some situations, that may be the entire lane. A cyclist is not required to keep right when passing another vehicle. A cyclist need not keep right when preparing for a left turn. Another statute provides more detail about bicyclists preparing to turn left. In this statute, it is specified that the cyclist may use the full lane from which the turn is to be made. In the statutes that address cyclists preparing for a left turn, there is no stated limitation to the distance required for the cyclist to prepare to make the left turn. The statutes recognize that the cyclist may need to take advantage of the gaps in busy traffic and move to the left lane well ahead of the actual turn. Another subsection in the bicycle regulations permits the use of the left lane even when the cyclist is not preparing for a left turn. A cyclist may always use the left lane of a multi-lane or one-way roadway. Cyclists may use the full lane in many situations. It is often difficult to understand the needs of cyclists from the viewpoint of an automobile driver. Bicycles have small tires that are easily punctured or knocked out of control by roadway defects or debris. Cyclists are maintaining a balance that is easily upset and, if lost, can lead to deadly crashes. They have a statutory right to use the roadway and to travel safely on that roadway. Times are changing and more cyclists are using the roadways more often. That trend is expected to continue. Your understanding of the laws and of the reasons cyclists act certain ways or need certain spaces is paramount to keeping the roadway system safe for all legal users.